She was a disco queen. She came from New Orleans. Catfish was her name. Dancing was a claim to fame.
What's up, guys? So I want to talk a little bit about this latest update from Motorsport Games, and then I want to talk about the upcoming game for next year, the new NASCAR game for 2023. So the first thing we're going to do is look at this tweet. It's a community update. It says, welcome to to the NASCAR Heat community. We continue to work on bringing excitement from the 2022 blah blah blah. With that said, we want to bring you the best possible experience this year and have decided to delay the release. With this delay, we will be able to bring a much more enhanced audio system to the 2022 cars, which we believe will magnify the 2022 racing experience. We plan to share an updated release in the coming days. In addition, the price of the DLC release will be dropped to $9.99, $10 on all platforms to better benefit the community. We look forward to seeing you on track, all on track soon. Okay, so plain and simple, this is the right thing to do. They don't make many smart decisions. This was a smart decision. Remember, we're talking about NASCAR Heat 5. We're not talking about NASCAR Ignition. They already released that, and it's absolute garbage. And so that's a mess. This is a little bit different. This is a different, completely different title, and it's something someone else made. They own it now, so this is actually a somewhat decent game. Okay, my issues with the Heat franchise is just it's a bare minimum for what we should be having this day and age. So that's really my main issue, but overall it's a decent game. The AI is a lot of fun to race for the most part. There are issues like, you know, the pit logic has been really bad for as long as I can remember. I think you got to go back to the Heat games when you had a decent pit cycle and things like that, or smarter AI logic when it came to pitting. I don't understand how games from almost 20 years ago can do things that these people are having trouble with in today's day and age. So, but this is a good decision. It's the right thing to do. There are people complaining, why are you charging for this? This should be free. This is not the same thing as Ignition. This is a different product, and they're adding something to update the season. They're adding new cars. There are things to complain about. I get it. I'm with you on that, but I don't see anything bad here. Anytime a developer decides, pump the brakes, let's make sure we get certain things correct before we release a product, make sure it's right. Make sure that these details actually work the way they should. That's a smart decision. I'm glad they're doing it. They deserve some credit for making that decision. And I'm not going to shit on the developer ever for delaying a game or a product because it's not up to quality standards. Okay? That being said, what you're going to end up with, that's something else altogether. Nobody trusts Motorsport Games, but as I said, this is an existing game that was already developed. It already has really solid AI. Actually, the best AI, I think, of any NASCAR game, and that even includes the the Thunder games. This is what makes this game really solid. It's that racing on track experience, and that's the most important thing. Everything else is where it's lacking. But that's already in the game. They're not messing with that. I think that this is all based on adding a new skin. And a skin without the updated sound is just a skin. So this is the right thing. They reduced the price a couple of bucks. It's not, I could live with that. $10 for DLC. They worked on it. It's time and resources that they put into it. So, yeah, they're not going to just give that away. I don't blame them. Keep in mind, this is not Ignition. Ignition is a whole different thing. This is apples and oranges. So, this is a good decision. This is a good announcement. People should feel better that, hey, they want to make sure that it sounds legit. So, my only question is, can they do that? Like, they haven't shown the capability of producing quality. So, that's the only question. But I don't want to shit on guys who are trying to do the right thing. This should be commended, not have people complain. So, this is actually good news. Now, let's get into some speculation. We're going to look at an old article. And, hold on, let me switch this up. Okay, this is an old article, but it's talking about the next game. So, as you can see here, it's Traxion. It's owned by Motorsport Games. So I'm just looking at this as a press release. This is old. It's from last May, but we're going to go over this because there are some big questions I have. I'm a bit confused on, some of this. So, main NASCAR game development team currently working on 2023 title. So they said currently. That was last May. I tried to find it. I couldn't find it. I thought I saw a tweet. Somebody mentioning that now that once they release this, or now that they've released the 2021 Ignition 2022 season pack, that now they can start working on the next game. And when I first saw that, I'm like, what? Weren't you guys working on this for months already? That was a big question in my mind, but I couldn't find the tweet. I don't know if I imagined it, maybe. If anybody knows anything out there, I could have sworn that somebody from Motorsport Games actually said that. Like, now now we're starting on the next game. Now that we released this, I thought I saw that. I could be mistaken. Maybe I imagined it. I don't know. So, in light of the Ignition launch fiasco and several structural and personnel changes, already working on next year's game launch. Yeah, I have to believe they must have been working on it already. You can't just... I've already said, you can't build a game from the ground up in 1 year. That's why this is not going to be a ground up game. They make, I've seen them word things in a certain way, but they're playing with words. It's like a marketing thing. It's not going to be a brand new game. This is going to be based off of Ignition. They don't want to tell you that because there's such a negative, obviously a negative reception to this. The last thing people want to hear is we're going to keep working on this. It's that bad of a product. But that's what they're going to do. But how they do it is what's important to me. So it says this is perhaps not much of a surprise. Following no new standalone game this year, which we've already lived through this. They've already released the 2022 Ignition pack, which is a disaster. Because it's running off that R-Factor engine and it's garbage. So let's see what they did mention. They're gonna introduce some new engine, or those are the areas where I'm confused. So no new standalone instead of 2022 series pack. Okay, I already said that. Before a new game is expected in the middle of 2023. This new release will not inherit the tech debt of the 2021 Ignition as its base. So when I read that, to me that just means tech. What is the tech debt? You're talking about the software or the game engine that the game is based on. So what else can tech debt mean? It's crazy, because in the very next sentence they say, will instead lean heavier. on the Unreal Engine with input from KartCraft and rFactor 2. Well, wasn't the rFactor 2 engine already being utilized, or the physics engine from rFactor 2? It's like there's so much wordplay going on. It's hard to decipher what they mean by any of this. So it says they're going to lean heavier on the engine. So it's still going to be this same engine, which tells me it's the same game. And it says input from KartCraft is a newer thing. So I know KartCraft has its own physics engine. rFactor 2 has its own physics engine. The one thing, and I couldn't find it, I tried to find it, but I don't know. I'll keep looking at the article just in case there's something I missed. But they said they were going to develop their own iteration of the engine being used. So they're modifying it for this game. And it's just, there's a lot of just word salad. And it's hard to get through that, to cut through that, and it's and real and just pick out what does it mean. So this is just speculation, but obviously to me, you're gonna get a game that looks exactly like NASCAR 21, but they're going to, I guess, tinker with the physics and the AI, hopefully. And how does KartCraft and rFactor 2 play into it? Well, according to people who know rFactor 2 and that community, it is well known that the AI from that franchise is garbage, or at least the oval track stuff. KartCraft, I don't know much about at all. So I don't know how they can take this, implement it within the Unreal Engine. And I always thought, like, the game engine like this is the main engine. Hold on a second. Let me check something. Okay, I'm still good. I always thought that they were using the physics within that engine. Like, I'm really confused on this stuff. So I don't know what any of this means. It could be, to me, that they're just going to keep working on Ignition and don't want to admit it. They want people to feel like, oh no, it's a whole new game, we're starting over. And they're just, I don't know what to make of this. Not inherit the tech debt of NASCAR 21, but instead lean heavier on the Unreal Engine. This game is built on the Unreal Engine. They're already using rFactor 2 physics. So I don't get it. I don't understand what any of that means. But as I said, even if you took the entire year, it's not enough to build a game from the ground up. So it is not going to be a ground up game, if as some people may think. It's going to be NASCAR 21 Ignition, and they're going to fix as much as they can, I guess. But as you've already seen with the countless patches and all that, nothing's been able to improve this game. And I've seen people actually put out, oh yeah, it's a lot better than it was on release. I don't fucking know how. So I think that this is more marketing than anything. They just want people to think that they're starting over, but instead they're just going to try to fix and improve the issues in the game. If they're able to fix those things, then we don't have a fucking problem. I don't care. But I want more information. I want to know exactly what this means. Lean heavier on the Unreal Engine. Well, what are you leaning on? I mean, I guess they just mean the graphics and the lighting and all that stuff, because you have that and then you have physics. The physics engine, I guess it's not. I guess the Unreal Engine physics, or whatever physics are part of that game engine, are not being utilized. They're relying on KartCraft and rFactor 2. But rFactor 2 is already something that's a part of this. So I don't know how that's going to work. And again, I may be mistaken. I'm trying to figure this out. If we're going to reset the expectation, blah, 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 we need more time. Obvious. There will not be enough time in 2022. We already have the main team working on the 2023 title. We valued our continued blah 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 blah. All right. We currently expect 2023 to bring a fully revamped NASCAR title. Revamped. I mean, I don't. I need more information. But I am 99% sure you're going to get NASCAR Ignition. It's just going to be hopefully fixed. Hopefully completely restructure the AI coding and all that stuff. I think 99% of everything that's wrong with this game is based on the coding, the physics, the AI logic, all those things. Because the game looks good visually. And like I said, there's 1 year. Well, how much can you do in a year? So they haven't shown much in all the patches, and so I don't know. It could be a lot of marketing. They're just trying to get people to feel like, you'd rather hear that they're starting over than to say, we're going to take a year off. We're going to just put more time and effort into fixing this game, which I'm okay with hearing that, because it's obvious. You can't just start from scratch and build a game from the ground up. That's not going to happen. So adding whatever tracks you need to add and whatever, but as we saw with this 2022 update, there's so much detail missing. You look at Auto Club, it's a perfectly smooth. It looks like Auto Club but repaved, like a brand new asphalt, no bumps, no cracks, no nothing. And that's a track that has a lot of surface characteristics. Very bumpy, very erratic track, and that's all missing. So I don't know, man, but that's what I would expect if I were you guys. It's going to be Ignition, and I don't know what this means, because they've talked about using a different engine. But they're telling you here it's still going to be Unreal, the Unreal Engine, and they're going to lean heavier on it. What does that mean? With input from KartCraft and rFactor 2. I don't understand how you can mix and match all these engines. That's above my head. I don't know. And hopefully somebody who with real knowledge on game development and coding and software can explain that. I would love to see that, but it would be good if they actually gave us more of an explanation. It's early, so I don't expect them to get into that kind of detail, but if you want to build more trust with a community, it's better to be out front. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, I thought you were starting from scratch. I thought you were building a whole new game. This is clearly going to be the same game. But if they do actually fix the issues and the AI and all that stuff and add other improvements, that's actually a good thing if they can do it, which is highly dubious. But I would rather hear that than for them to make it seem like you're just going to build a new game from the ground up. I know better, but I know a lot of people out there don't. And they're going to be expecting a whole new different game. So that could actually bite them. They might be painting themselves into a corner. But I don't really trust this company. They're going to have to earn that trust. But they're pretty much telling you, but it doesn't make sense. Not inherit the tech of 21 Ignition as its base. What the fuck does that mean? This is like word salad, because they turn right around and tell you they're still using the same Unreal Engine and they're going to lean heavier on it. And I thought rFactor 2 was already part of it. So what are they saying? It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, the rest of this is really just old stuff. New and improves NASCAR Switch, blah blah blah. I don't care. They have they're just working on so many different things at once they're already spread thin. A lot of people have been let go. A lot of people have gone. So I'm not sure how this is all going to work out. Probably not well, but if we get a game that looks like NASCAR 21 Ignition visually, but actually runs and feels and races like NASCAR Heat 5, I'd be very happy with that. But can they do that? As I said, the Unreal Engine is very difficult to work on. And I don't get this. R Factor 2 is already supposedly, the physics part of it is already part of NASCAR 21. So I don't know. Hopefully they come out and give us a better explanation. But those are my thoughts. I do think it's a good idea that they delay the NASCAR Heat 5 expansion. If they're going to improve the audio for the cars, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So whether or not they succeed is another thing. But that decision in itself is good. So those are my thoughts. If we get any new information, I'll let you guys know later.
She was a disco queen.